Been a lot of discussion lately about low pH, high kind of car wash methods using these two different kind of ends of the spectrum to wash a car. Some are calling it an exothermic wash. And I think technically what we're talking about is an acidic alkaline wash system. And the concept is really simple. You have a acidic product or a low pH product that foams, and you foam that onto a dry surface, which I definitely agree with. And then before you rinse that acidic product off, you have an alkaline product that you then foam on top of the acidic product. And in doing that, both chemistries work together on the surface, and honestly, the results can be pretty amazing. They absolutely do work. I think the reason for this YouTube video, this podcast, is not to discuss whether this works or not, because they do, but the process or the reason for this episode is to describe how they work, why they became popular, where they kind of originated, and then I think there's some risk factors that aren't talked about, and then again, what I believe innovation actually looks like in the detailing space. So I will definitely have my opinion on them, but definitely my opinion is that these work. A low pH, high pH system absolutely works. I just think that there's a bigger conversation happening here. You know, a lot of times a method is born out of chemistry, not the other way around. And so it gives me an opportunity to kind of discuss how I develop products. And so though I agree with this method, I think there's definitely a place for it. I think there are some risk factors that simply just aren't being talked about or not being talked about enough. And so, you know, whenever a new method becomes popular in the detailing space, I always ask myself, why, what's going on, what's behind this, where did it come from? And really where I think this one is coming from is that I always say, hey, try not to touch your car, right? The more you touch your car, the more opportunities you have to scratch your car. And so people want maximum cleaning ability with minimum scrubbing, right? Obviously goes back to my whole core, why I don't love rinseless washes, because they're so labor intensive, right? I want the chemistry to do the work. I want the product to do the work for me. I don't want to have to bend down, get my body in all these, weird positions, right? And so I think a lot of people, we have kind of the perfect storm of people wanting to not put so much labor into a car wash and not touch their car at the same time. Well, how do we do that? Well, we found these two chemistries that work, right? And so I think people look to other industries or adjacent industries as well. And everyone, and I'm totally guilty of this as well, but every product brand is looking for their differentiator. They're looking for their angle. They're looking for what makes their brand different, right? And so I think brands look at how can we create different methods. We've seen this with everyone. Meguiar's, Turtle Wax, they create different technologies for their chemistry. Instabond technology or InstaClean technology, or, they will create their own technology claim, Triphene, right? We see this all over the place. And so innovation can sometimes come from a made up place because people and brands are trying to differentiate themselves. And sometimes, at least what I see, and I think something that we've seen for a long time, or I've noticed for a long time, is the lack of innovation in chemistry in the detailing space. In fact, I've talked about it since right before COVID at SEMA, and it's one of the reasons why I have a hard time going to SEMA, because there's such a lack of innovation. There really is. I don't think that it's innovative to say that your ceramic coating is, now can be wet in 1 hour instead of 4. I don't know. I'm like, yawn, right? And so brands really struggle with innovation, so they create their own technology claims, or their technology, just their own technology, right, to claim that as innovation, which is where we get a lot of confusion, right? Because what is Triphene? I mean, what is it? It's not even a real thing, right? And so anyway, where did this come from, or what is this? So you have two different far ends of the spectrum kind of colliding in one, and it creates a lot of heat. That's where you get the name exothermic. It's creating heat on the surface by mixing these two chemistries, and at its core, you're just combining two different things. You're combining an acid, which is designed to remove minerals, water spots, salt, brake dust, inorganic contamination. And then we have the alkaline side of things, the high side of things, oils, grease, traffic film. And so each chemistry has its strengths, each chemistry has its weakness. And then by combining both of them, you are attacking a wider range of things. And that's why the system, produces awesome results, because you're attacking multiple things, not necessarily at once, but kind of at once, right? And the biggest culprit, I think, in this, and the biggest culprit the biggest challenge, the biggest hurdle that I came up against is traffic film. So, because traffic film is a mixture of things: oils, tire residue, exhaust, road grime, whatever's on the road, whatever's been leaking from the truck onto the road, then it rained, and then it came up on the surface. It's a bunch of different contamination, right? And road film or traffic film really bonds well to a car's surface, whether it's ceramic coated or not. So it's really difficult to break that bond of traffic film, right? So this is why this works so well. You're attacking both at once, and there's less scrubbing. You're, removing more contamination. And so for heavily contaminated cars or vehicles or machinery, this is a significant advantage, right? And I think this is where because of where it came from, right? And where this originated in fleet washes, truck washing, heavy equipment cleaning, industrial cleaning. When you're doing a 53-foot box truck, 18-wheeler, you can't spend 4 hours washing that. You can't spend, all day doing that. So, truck washes and industrial, even car washers that did this. I know Adam Patali with Adam's Polishes started out in fleet washing. And one of the problems with him, even in his story, is he was washing these Coca-Cola trucks, but they were having to get the Coca-Cola trucks repainted. I think it was something crazy, like once every 18 months, right? And so he was brought in to design a system with better chemistry that didn't strip these Coca-Cola trucks so quickly. But what was going on there? The car washers or the truck washers at that point were using extreme chemicals to break down all the grease, oil, debris on those trucks. The trade-off to that was that they were also ruining the finish on the car, right? And so I think that's where this low pH, high pH comes from. And that's what worries me, right? Is that we might be creating unnecessary damage to surfaces, especially when we start talking about the car, your vehicle. We have piano black, we have plastic trim, we have rubber seals, we have PPF, we have ceramic coatings, we have polycarbonate headlights that oxidize, we have aluminum components, clear coated and raw, specialty finishes, and different materials respond differently to this chemical exposure. So I think a lot of the risk factors that we're talking about or that we're not talking about are what is the long-term damage that these harsh chemicals deal with, because they really are. You're dealing with a really harsh acid, which could be really detrimental to car surfaces. Then you're dealing with a really high pH chemical, which could also be equally as damaging to a vehicle. And then you're talking about combining these. So the long-term questions that nobody asking is like, what happens after 18 months of doing this? What happens to your ceramic coating? Are you unnecessarily breaking down your ceramic coating? Are you unnecessarily breaking down the clear coat on your car? Are you unnecessarily drying out the rubbers and plastic trim and seals on your car? What happens long-term from this? And how long is long-term, right? And so I know that most people in maybe in opposition right now may be saying, hey, I don't do this every car wash, but how often do you do it, right? If you do this once a month, is that still bad for that? Right? And did the chemistry create the method or the other way around? Right? And so this is where my differentiator is for my brand. Instead of creating technology terms that don't mean anything, instead of trying to confuse people, instead of trying to do a million different things, I try to start with the end in mind, right? So I think the low pH, high pH came because neutral soaps struggle to clean, right? They struggle really bad. I think pH neutral soap is useless, right? So I am on the bandwagon of using pH in our favor, right? And so I think for a lot of detailing methods, they were created because of the limitations of the chemistry at the time. So the chemistry came first, and then the method was built around it. That's why we have these weird ideas of like, you can't wax your car in the sun, right? Because the chemistry came first. The method was built around that. Hey, it reacts really poorly in the sun. There is a really bad user experience in the sun. Let's just not use it in the sun, right? Or the 2-bucket method, right? That was largely developed because old soaps, again, struggle to release contamination, right? The process compensated for the chemistry, right? And so, again, it's just a very aggressive way to clean things. So I think this is why I wanted to do this podcast, wanted to do this YouTube video, is to explain my philosophy and how it's different. Instead of a random made-up technology claim, instead of making up technology, I believe that the method should compensate for the chemistry. So I believe the chemistry should simplify the method. So I don't even start with the chemistry. I start with the desired outcome. I ask, what experience am I trying to accomplish here? What problem am I trying to solve? What result am I trying to achieve? And then with Walter, I work backwards, right? The method came first. The chemistry comes second, right? We search out and find chemistry to fit our method, not the other way around, right? Because I think anyone can make a strong product. Anyone can make a higher pH soap. Anyone can make a lower pH soap, right? But how do we find that fine gray area in between where we're maxing out the liquid, we're maxing out the chemistry to limit the give and take, to limit the downside to the positive side, right? And so I think, balancing that, not taking the far extremes of both, but how do we get somewhere in the middle and then kind of balance everything to remove the maximum amount of road grime while not drying out your plastics, not drying everything out, right? The balance. And so that's where I developed the Super Soaper. I wasn't trying to build the strongest soap ever. I wasn't trying to build a complicated process. I wasn't trying to sell more SKUs, because essentially, if you like this low pH high, you really need 3 car wash soaps. You need the low pH soap, the high pH soap, and your pH neutral soap. 3 different car wash soaps to clean your car. That's a complicated process, right? I was trying to solve a very specific problem with the Super Soaper, right? I wanted incredible cleaning ability. Number one, again, it came from what my own words that I was telling people of like, every time you touch your car, you're going to scratch it, touch your car less. And people going, well, how do I touch it less? Right? It's like, crap. I need to give people a solution for that. But I also want excellent lubrication because I want to be able to use the soap as a clay lube. I was doing that all the time of like, I'd find myself refoaming a car because it was faster to clay a car with foam on it than it was to wash the trim to not get dried out over time after using it. I wanted a maintenance soap. So something you could use that could handle heavy duty cleaning. And then I wanted something that you could use as a maintenance soap. So you only need 1 soap, not 3. You don't need a complicated system. You just need 1 highly jam-packed soap, right? So the goal wasn't maximum aggression. The goal was maximum effectiveness while respecting all these different surfaces that are on the car, right? Anyone can make chemistry stronger, but making it smarter is definitely the hard part. So, to be clear, I do think these systems absolutely have a place. Neglected vehicles, fleet cars, construction equipment, restoration projects, something with heavy contamination, something that you do every once in a great while, right? Those are situations that the chemistry totally makes sense. And I think that's where this chemistry is mainly being used. And then we're kind of just trickling it down to other areas of the car. But again, I think the question becomes, should this become your default maintenance routine? And probably not, because I think it's just too aggressive, right? So the low pH, high pH systems definitely aren't bad. They're tools, but like every tool, they have a strength and a weakness. And so I don't think the question is, can they clean? Because clearly they can, but the question is, are they necessary week in, week out? And are they actually more damaging to your car than actually just throwing a mid on it, right? And so again, I think the bigger question that I always ask myself, the bigger question that I try to solve, my big differentiator for the Jimbo's Detailing brand is I create a method that I'm looking for and then create chemistry based on the result that I'm trying to achieve. I don't look at the current chemistry out there and then think, okay, let's design a new method. That's where I think the water's gotten really muddy in the detailing space. That's why I feel like the detailing space feels so stagnant. It's confusing. It's annoying. People don't know what to do, and it's because of this. And so my big differentiator, the hill that I'm willing to die on, is that I start with the desired result first and then work backwards, right? So if that's something that interests you, I invite you to check out the whole Jimbo's detailing line. The Super Soaper is not a high pH, low pH wash system. It's a single liquid that cleans as good as the low high pH system, but also can be used as a maintenance wash as well. Safe on ceramic coated surfaces, safe on PPF, totally safe on everything. And so with that, I will link everything below, but I just wanted to give my opinion on the low pH, high pH wash systems. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.